Hi, I'm here outside the Andrews Center School of Gerontology, and I'm really excited because today I get to interview my former professor, Dr. Valter Longo, who taught me a lot about nutrition and aging, and today I'm going to talk to him about the notion of caloric restriction. So come on, let's go. The reason I'm here today is because I want to talk to you about the idea of caloric restriction and how that helps with the aging process. And you are an expert in that, right?
Yes.
Okay. And can you tell us what that is?
Well, caloric restriction is basically a reduction in the intake of calories. Usually, in all the organisms that have been tested, including rodents and monkeys and humans, the restriction is about anywhere from 20 to 40%. The typical restriction is 20 to 40%.
And how does that help with the aging process?
Well, that's a complicated question, but or at least complicated answer. There's many different systems that are involved. Some of it implicate antioxidant protective pathways, but there's much more than that involved. It looks like there is a general reprogramming of what a cell does and how it does it because the calories are so restricted.
At what age would you recommend somebody doing that?
No age.
No age. You don't recommend it?
No.
Why?
Well, because it's an extreme intervention. Um, because the monkey studies actually now they're in year 20. They're very positive as far as age-related diseases. So the monkeys that have been on calorie restriction for 20 years are doing much better as far as diabetes. They're doing much better for cancer and cardiovascular type diseases. But the overall mortality is no different than the monkeys that have been eating normally for 20 years. I mean, it's a trend is better. Look like they're going to live better. But after 20 years of suffering, I think you will want to see something much more than that to even think about recommending it to people. Now, my former boss many years ago, Roy Walford, he had done the first really human studies on calorie restriction in the Biosphere 2 in Arizona, and they really suffered, I think, through that process. You run 1,800 calories a day. The typical American would struggle a lot. And that doesn't mean now my colleague and friend Luigi Fontana has been following about 50 people that do calorie restriction, and they're a highly educated group. They're very devoted to this kind of thing, and they look great, and they're doing great. So it could be that it turns out that in 20 years, after we look back at maybe 50, 100, 200 people that have done calorie restriction for 20, 30 years, uh, some of them are on year 12, I think. So in 20 years, you're going to have 30 years of studies on people, right? So at that point, that's going to be a very different story. At that point, you can look and say, hey, 99% of them didn't get cardiovascular disease, got a reduction in cancer by 30%, didn't have any psychological problem. Sure, if you can do it and you want to suffer through it, but you want those results, do it. But right now, so for example, wound healing appears to be reduced. Some of the immune functions appear to be reduced. So yeah, it's you could get very positive benefits.
I saw a lot of research on how malnutrition actually inhibits wound healing. So, how do you reconcile those two concepts?
Yeah, well, it's the same thing, right? So in this case, well, malnutrition and calorie restriction are two very different things, right? Malnutrition is basically saying that you eat poorly. So you may have vitamins that are missing, you may have minerals that are missing, you may have essential fatty acids that are missing. Calorie restriction says that you have everything and more that you need, you just have less calories. But in that case, you probably have the common denominator, so you have the same problem because it may have to do with calories. You know, if you have less calories, the immune system and the repair systems, the systems that need to generate a lot of cells for to function properly, are impaired, and so they need calories. You just can't just have essential fatty acids do the job, or vitamins. You know, they need to build.
I remember that you are a vegetarian, right?
No, not really. But 99% of my diet is vegetables and fish.
Have you written a book about nutrition and aging?
I've written a book which I haven't published yet, and I'm thinking about whether I want to publish it or not. And but I think I probably will, and maybe with Luigi Fontana, who's the main scientist that is following the calorie restricted human population.
Have you ever heard of the Calorie Restriction Society?
Yes, all these people belong to a lot of the individuals that are studied by Fontana belong to the Caloric Restriction Society. Yeah.
I have a really important question for you before I thank you. Was I like a great student?
Yeah, you were the best.
I got an A+ in your class. Did you know that?
Well, I didn't remember that, but now that you remind me, well, great.
Thanks. Is there anything else that you would like to disseminate to people who might be watching this that you feel passionate about, or you would like everybody to know and take heed of?
Yeah, well, I would say forget calorie restriction, but do adapt if you know there's something feasible for the whoever is listening, adopt a diet that is minimizes animal products and maximizes nutrition. So the vegetarian and fish diet is a good one, but it's only a good one if you also get all the nutrients that you need. You know, so vitamin B12 and iron and a lot of other nutrients are usually lacking in the vegetarian diet. So it's good to go to a good doctor, a good nutritionist, and find somebody that is very well educated in that area, and maybe travels and goes to conferences and knows the new data, and then change your diet based on their recommendations.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
I really appreciate it.